You're not Steve Rogers.
You're right. I'm not.
Julius, congratulations on your film. It's a fantastic outing, and congratulations on joining the MCU.
Thank you, Garrett. I really appreciate it.
So how did the production process in the MCU differ from something like the Cloverfield paradox?
You know, what was really great about this is the amount of time you have to prepare. You know, I had a great team around me from the very beginning, working with the visual development team, Ryan Meinerding, Ian Joyner over at Marvel, and then amazing storyboard artists, great previs teams. A lot of time and care is taken in preparation, and I am a preparation junkie. So that allowed me to really take the vision that I had, that I'd pitched the team at Marvel, and find a way to put it on paper or put it in previs so everybody could react to what I wanted to do, and then we built the movie from there.
Beautiful. Speaking of Cloverfield paradox, it's rife with compelling narrative twists and it kind of devolves into chaos. So how much of what you learned there is encoded in Brave New World?
You know, that was the first opportunity for me to work with blue screen, to do wire work, to do work with previs and real visual effects. So it was really about taking that learning experience and applying it here, what works, maybe what doesn't work. But those were also, that's a very different film from this in terms of the scale. This is a much bigger enterprise, way more moving pieces. So I was glad to learn on something a little bit smaller, but really excited to be able to take that and push this further.
Absolutely. What about the character of Sam Wilson resonates with you?
Sam's superpower is his empathy. I love the idea of being able to tell the story of a grounded hero. He doesn't have a conventional set of superpowers. He's not a billionaire. He's a guy who's using his heart and his soul, and he's just working his ass off to do what he does, and he really cares about people. And I love the idea of having that be the focus of a story, especially one that is a sort of paranoid political thriller, because it puts to test his desire to have empathy, especially when he's opposite somebody like Thaddeus Ross, who he's got this real history with. Thaddeus imprisoned him in Civil War. He tore apart the Avengers with Sokovia Accords. So now you've got Sam, who's looking to connect with people opposite somebody who he can't trust. And that creates a great engine of a thriller. And the back and forth between Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford in this film is so exciting to watch.
Yeah, they've got a great dynamic.
Yeah.
While most credit Iron Man is the movie that kicked off the MCU, it's technically The Incredible Hulk. Captain America Brave New World is set to incorporate elements from that movie. So how early on in the process did you get access to those characters? And is that a personal choice or more of a directive from the higher ups?
You know, from the very beginning, I got access to those characters. They were all things that were on the table. And as we talked, we refined further. You know, what was so great about the collaboration with Marvel for me was, despite whatever was there was the opportunity to shape it further. So I really tried to push things in a direction that focused on the characters, that could work in this tone of a grounded, paranoid, and political thriller, which really meant it was a story about heart and intellect. And even though it goes to fantastic places with a guy with Wakandan wings and a gigantic red Hulk, emotionally and psychologically, it always stays grounded and relatable. And that's a testament to Marvel that they gave me the opportunity to really see my vision through.
Yeah. Obviously, the Steve Rogers trilogy precedes this film. So did you look at those films as inspiration, or are you kind of trying to approach this as a fresh start?
Both. You know, this is a fresh start. It's an opportunity to work as a reset for the MCU and everything that's going to come forward. But those are incredible films, and I wanted to respect that legacy of Captain America. So again, you have a movie like, you know, Winter Soldier that's influenced by a parallax view. I looked at different political and paranoid thrillers from that era. Movies like Day of the Jackal, movies like Point Blank or Le Samurai. So you have some of that flavor, but a distinctiveness that is specific to Sam Wilson.
Yeah, I think you can feel that in the movie as well.
Oh, thank you, sir.
So what's it like to see Harrison Ford Hulk out? Bringing up Harrison Ford.
It is amazing. You know, Harrison is so committed to what he does, but he's also so grounded. So he didn't want to overthink it, but at the same time, he understood that there had to be a clear emotional trajectory from Thaddeus Ross to Red Hulk. So there were choices he was making. There were subtle things he was doing that would be a part of the evolution of this character that you can track that I just love. And then we also really made sure that in the mocap process that we were getting nuance and behavior and just emotional details in his eyes, especially, that you can see in Red Hulk, because that emotional journey that he takes, especially in relation to Sam, is how we make this story work and really also convey the theme to the audience.
Sure. What was the hardest part about directing this movie?
Making sure that the tone completely stays consistent and that the emotional journey is there across the board. I didn't want it to ever feel like, here's the dramatic scenes, and now here's a stunt sequence, and now here's a visual effects sequence. I was very fortunate that even within some of the action sequences, it's not that a bunch of stuff just got punted to second unit. I got to direct that stuff and then also make sure that the visual language stayed consistent with everything that was being done. So it's one cohesive movie.
Yeah, it feels really cohesive as well.
Thank you, sir.
Sam is such a unique character largely because of his wings. Did you have fun filming those intricate fight scenes, and kind of what's the biggest challenges and rewards there with that?
I loved it. I loved it. We have some of the best stunt and fight coordinators in the world, and the team that came onto this brought so much heart and soul and wanted to make sure that working with me, we could push things even further. And again, this is a Captain America who doesn't have conventional superpowers. So I really wanted a gritty and intense kind of action, an action that told you something about who he was. I joke about this all the time, but there's a sequence early on where Sam uses a brick to take out a bunch of mercs. And what was great about that for me is it's badass, but it's also telling you something about who he is as a character. He improvises, he gets scrappy, he uses what's around him to be able to execute. And that was something that was really fun to think about across the board in all the action in the film.
I love that. Do you have any ideas on where to take the next film, if that's something you get to take on, and have you had any chats about that?
All I'll say is right now, my heart and soul is in this film, but I think this is a movie that cements Captain America and Sam Wilson as our new Captain America, as a leader of the Avengers going forward. So I'm just really excited about getting this out in the world.
How long do you want to see Sam kind of be in that role?
As long as Anthony Mackie wants to do it, I'm super, super excited because I think he's bringing something really fresh to it that complements what Steve Rogers and Chris Evans did, but also makes it feel very specific to this moment. I don't joke around at all when I talk about that theme of empathy. I think it's so important, and this idea of seeing the good in each other is something that I thought could resonate across the world. So I was very excited to tell the story.
Especially in today's day and age. Certainly we could all use a little bit more empathy.
Exactly.
What's your biggest lesson or takeaway from this film that you'll keep with you forever and apply?
Always stay open. I try to make a point of doing that, but this was a real opportunity to stay open to all the different possibilities of what could come, because the discovery that comes from that is what surprises the audience. And I really, really love that in this experience.
Yeah. The MCU is sort of this massive playground. So what's it like to be in that sandbox?
It's a thrill, it's not something I ever thought I'd have the opportunity to do. And the fact that Kevin and Nate and the team there opened that door for me, I'm so grateful for. These movies have captured the imagination of people all around the world. And it's because it's about heart. It's about these characters. And that's a lesson I can apply to anything I'm doing. Take care of your characters and your audience will fall in love with them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's all I had for you today.
Thank you, Garrett. I really appreciate it, man.